When I consider intention, I think it is something positive. We like to think that we are doing things for a reason. We want to believe that our actions are filled with purpose. Intention suggests, more than a little, that we are part of something larger, what we call the big picture, and it is very comforting to think that may be true. When a situation is described as being intense, it is filled with intention that is being tested. But maybe we are only flattering ourselves. We also have a saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, which blows any comfort we may have felt to pieces, which implies we only think we know what we're doing, when in fact the very opposite is more likely the case. We strive to do right, to behave decently, and we wind up in hell. We don't have any control over this. It's a one-way ticket no matter what we do. We're doomed. And that's not just physically doomed or mortal. We're also spiritually, morally doomed. It's frustrating. Is it really true? All these people struggling, working their asses off, trying to be good, and it's all going to backfire? They're all going to wind up in hell? And that's going to come as a big surprise, a real shocker. What? If that's true, and I don't know if it is, it seems harsh, but if it is true, then the question looms, why even try to be good? I can remember when Mike Tyson began his career. He wasn't the biggest fighter, but he was unquestionably the best, and clearly in fantastic physical condition. Mental, too. He entered the ring with little fanfare, wearing a ripped sweatshirt, black trunks, black socks and shoes, and if anyone asked him what was on his mind, he'd say, bad intention. That was it, that was all. Bad intention. I remember a lot of vicious first-round knockouts. The physician's oath, the Hippocratic oath, famously states, first do no harm. Tyson's little mantra spoke to just the opposite. Harm was all he wanted to do. It wasn't just first on his list, it was the entire list. One thing, focus and goal. Villainy is oddly attractive. Villainy has driven many a famous tale. Satan is said to have stolen away with most of the interest in Milton's Paradise Lost. Shakespeare's plays are loaded with villains. Villains know what they want, they know full well what they're doing, and they don't hesitate to do it. They often act with great relish, like the fantastic villains in the silent movies. Or you have someone like Hamlet, who is not a villain. He doesn't really know quite what to do. Even with the most powerful motivation behind him, he's still unsure. Harm? Revenge? Possibly. Any other options? It's such a long play because the central figure isn't villainous. Hamlet is a sheep who's called to play a wolf, and he's simply not up to it. It isn't in him. If it was, the bodies would have come a lot earlier, in Act 1, and it would have been a very different, certainly shorter play. Instead, Hamlet comes up with the idea of staging a play to catch the conscience of a king. But what if the king has no conscience? Hamlet is the one with the conscience. The refreshing, liberating thing about a villain is that you get no crisis of conscience, no funk, no doubt. They have no moral balance. That would only slow them down. Villains give us a wild ride. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, even if it is bad. For them, does the end justify the means? You bet it does. When Vince Lombardi said winning is the only thing, he was accepting villainy as a way to get there. Meanwhile, you have all those goody-goodies, the sheep, the lambs of God, pathetically trying to do right. And where is that going to get them? Exactly. So why bother? Why screw around? If you're going to hell, why take the slow train and make all those aggravating stops? Why not take the express? Many of the dominant figures in the world are oozing openly with bad intention, and people will say, perhaps figuratively, that they have sold their soul to the devil. That isn't true. They are the very devil itself. Hell on earth. More power to them.